Howdy, and welcome back to the Texas Bucket List. Next up, we head to Rosenberg to learn a little history. 200 years of history. You see, there's a ranch out in the outskirts of H-Town that's been a part of Texas since 1824. And it continues to tell its story about life in the Lone Star State before it was even a country. In a town known as the Space City, you'd expect to find nothing but modern conveniences in the big city way of life. But just a few miles from the hustle and bustle of Houston, you'll find the George Ranch in Rosenberg. Here, life is like it was when Texas was a republic.
Texans feel it's important for them to know of their heritage, and we're excited to be able to show them that history in a different setting.
Adrienne Barker is the executive director of the historic George Ranch Association, and she's in charge of running this 20,000-acre ranch that's only 30 miles from downtown Houston. Yet, many Texans haven't heard of it.
We've kind of flown under the radar for 200 years. We're older than the King Ranch, and we like to say we were here before Texas.
Just seeing fields of green not far from the concrete jungle is a refreshing way to spend the day. But then there's the history.
We teach 100 years of Texas history, starting in about 1830 and running through 1930.
Considering this was a cattle ranch for so long, you still find steers soaking up the Texas sun and avoiding the cowboys any way they can. It's part of the demonstration to show what life was like and how it still is for those who work the ranch.
They actually work the cattle. The kids get to see the cattle and the cowboys and the horses up close, and they get to really get into that golden age of the cattle drive that is taught in their Texas history courses.
Turns out the cattle are really just trying to avoid bath time, even though they seem to enjoy it as much as the onlookers do.
There's a little bit of splashing when a cow goes into the dipping vat, and that's always fun. We tell them to step back, and they look at us rather skeptically, and then the first cow jumps in and they move back. And it always brings a smile and a cheer. Just a lot of fun to get to see that up close.
The George Ranch was established by Henry and Nancy Jones, who were some of the first settlers under Stephen F. Austin's first colonial contract in Mexican Texas.
This is the second cabin of Henry and Nancy Jones. It's a replica of the original that was here on the ranch, and they lived here with their 11 children. Wow. This is actually a pretty upscale cabin. It's one of our most popular sites with all of the students and the people who visit because it's so different from how they live now.
Seeing what life was like back in the 1830s is one thing, but here, kids can actually experience it.
We put them to work doing some chores, and they get to do a lot of hands-on things so that they can really see what it was like to live back then.
When they do the chores, are they doing them willingly?
Oh yeah, most of them. Our interpreter here, J.R. Thomas, is very good at getting the kids involved and getting them to do lots of different things for him, helping with his work.
And you guys are just doing this for free labor.
No, not for free labor, but it does get the wood stacked, you know?
Yeah, whatever it takes.
It does get the wood stacked.
Whatever it takes.
Exactly.
From there, the Jones moved into this prairie home in the 1860s. A lot improved in 30 years.
Yes, this was actually the third home of Henry Jones, and he built it very near the end of his life. Oddly, he never really liked this house. He really wanted his cabin. He was most comfortable there, but he built this house and then wasn't really that happy here.
Man's man.
Yep, exactly.
This is too foo-foo.
Exactly.
Too nice. The third home on the property is a Victorian complex built in the 1890s by the third generation of Jones's family. So this is completely different from the first two homes.
Yes, very different. We have now moved into the 1890s, the Victorian age.
And the final home on the ranch was built by the fourth generation, Mary Elizabeth, who is also known as Mamie.
This house is set in the 1930s. It was the home of A.P. and Mamie George. Mamie was the final generation of the family story, and this was the house they built together for their married life.
With no living heirs, it was the Georges who established the foundation that continues to this day, providing Texans with a glimpse back in time while giving back to the community.
We wonder if they knew what they were creating. It's a pretty amazing legacy. You always think that, yes, they had in mind charitable good and supporting the community, but they really think it would ever become this big. And we just have to be the best stewards we can of that legacy. Just seeing this land and heritage kept in place. It's really, really nice to know that there are some pockets like this that will remain and will continue to tell our Texas history, and for people to enjoy the outdoors and agriculture and cattle and cowboys, all those things that are very Texas.
Well, thanks for watching this segment of the Texas Bucket List. To see more, be sure you subscribe to our channel, and to see full episodes, become a member. In the meantime, you can also shop our store at the Texas Bucket List Store and Studio.